So the other day, I was delivering a training around the use of my GPT, the Have a Life Teaching AI coach. And we talked about one example for use being able to really personalize the learning experience for students. So I was saying, for example, if you're a middle school teacher and you're teaching students about text-based evidence, that now with the advent of AI, you could actually personalize it where every student gets their own text that the AI generates, hopefully to get the students more engaged in their reading. This particular school is working on reading comprehension. So let me give you a demo on how this could actually look and really help you to develop that personalized lesson plan without going crazy and having to yourself create 30 different lessons or to run around and try to grab 30 different texts. So here we on my screen is I asked my AI to create a fictional list of students. Once I explained that I was creating this fictional list of students and their interests to generate an actual context on how we could personalize the text for our students that they're reading, it let me do that. So here you see a list of 10 students and what they are interested in. And then what I asked it to do was I asked it to consider what are some of the standards related to reading in eighth grade. I did input the Common Core as background knowledge into the AI. And so I actually had it focus on reading of literature 8.1, where they would be trying to cite the textual evidence and be able to determine what the strongest evidence in support of both explicit and implicit intention is. So then I said, okay, give me a personalized text for each student based on interest that relates to 1RLB1. And as you could see, it gave me 10 fictional text, very short. It also provided the evidence targets that students should identify. Now, obviously, if you were going to give your students these narratives, you wouldn't want to include that in what you give them. But obviously, as a teacher, it definitely does help you to see if the students are understanding text-based evidence and able to determine what the strongest claims are. You could see they're in all different interest areas. So hopefully the students will be more engaged simply because it's a topic that they're interested in and they could see themselves reflected in the learning. Foreshadowed what I was going to ask it. So it asked me if I should create or if it should create text-dependent questions for each student based on citing text evidence, whether or not I wanted a whole class differentiated lesson using each personalized text. That's a definite yes. Multi-tiered systems of supports, differentiated supports for the students that might be below proficiency or below readiness. It also suggested that I include in this activity depth of knowledge or DOK questions at varying complexity levels, 1 being low and 4 being high. It also suggested a writing task, and it did also ask me what the format of the learning is, whether it was a 45-minute class or a 90-minute block scheduling. So I didn't do the block scheduling versus the 45-minute UDL lesson plan, but I did ask for the other things. And as you could see, it gave me text-dependent questions for each student, but all targeted to that standard. So you see there what questions they could be asking and answering. And then it did give me a whole class lesson plan. It chose a 45-minute UDL embedded lesson. Again, I've input various documents related to universal design by learning principles. And it gives you the whole activity here, inclusive of mini lesson, guided practice, and the independent practice. And what I like about the independent practice, which you could see here, is that the students can choose any personalized text, their own or a partner's, and discuss the following. They could discuss a claim about a character trait or motivation. They could select the strongest supporting evidence, and they could write a 3 to 4 sentence explanation citing that evidence. So there again, you not only have a lesson on citing text evidence, but you're engaging your students and you're ensuring that students have voice and hopefully choice in what they're learning. And then, of course, the closure activity. The other thing it gave me, like I said, I asked for, was what the teacher could be doing to differentiate supports, what scaffolds or extra materials students might need to do this more independently with their peers. It also suggests some depth of knowledge questions that you could be asking your students at various complexity levels. So hopefully you're asking your students at least a DOK2, hopefully a DOK3, where they're doing some strategic thinking about the learning. And then you also see the performance tasks that it created. So that's just one example of how you could be using the Have a Life Teaching AI coaching bot. Now, I'm offering this coaching bot for $19 a month on my subs account. That comes with unlimited direct messaging coaching support. So if you have any questions around the use of this tool, basically what I want to do is I want to create a virtual version of me in a way where you can have me in your back pocket without me necessarily being there. Now, let's say you're an administrator and you're looking at utilizing a tool like this for your entire teaching team. I do hope you reach out and we could discuss possible partnership opportunities. If you are interested in creating a bot like this for your own initiatives, for your own professional development plan, I do also hope you reach out because I can definitely help you with that. In addition, I am a curriculum instruction and assessment guy. So if you have any needs in terms of K-12 instruction, AI based or not, I do hope you reach out.